This morning we are going to talk about the importance of the first steps. So you know that in the valorization process, it's very important to check very early about the feasibility. And so the first steps are very important, and they require different resources. That they require people, staff, they require a team, and they require also money, of course, and methods, I would say. So this morning we're going to have three different experience presented to you. Two of them, all of them are very recent experiences about these first steps in the valorization process. Two of them were created by universities, one in Italy, the other one in Slovenia. And the third one, which will be presented, is actually a national scheme coming from the Czech Republic. So I think we are going to hear about money, of course, different resources, mentoring, teams, crowdfunding, so many topics, many different and complementary topics. And I suggest we just start now with the first of our speakers. So please welcome Luigi Di Pace. He comes from the Bicocca Università del Crowdfunding. Sorry for my very bad Italian pronunciation. So please, Luigi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Christophe. Thank you to everybody and to the European Commission. So just starting, just a couple of things. I am Luigi Di Pace, as Christophe has said, and I am in charge of the Unicron crowdfunding program since 2018. My institution, University of Milano Bicocca, is a multidisciplinary university with 14 departments and more than 36,000 students. Oh, please go ahead with slides. Next one. Bicocca, thank you. Bicocca University of Crowdfunding is a funding program launched in 2018 to allow to the whole academic community, students and alumni included, to turn their ideas and knowledge in projects and startups. The crowdfunding model we have chosen is all or nothing, and projects selected by a selection board each year will do the campaigns using the real rules of reward-based crowdfunding. We usually publish the annual announcement in October each year. Next one, please. Okay, the Unicron is a multi-purpose program whose main objectives are introduce alternative finance in the academic environment, enhance training business people skills, bring our university closer to companies through matching fund model, and bring research to people. Go ahead, please. Thank you. In first three editions, we have carried out successfully 14 crowdfunding campaigns, raising over 130,000 euros and above all, involving over 15,000 backers, most of whom are people from outside the university. And this is very important for us. Next one. Okay, now talking about our partners. Partners are very, very important for this crowdfunding program. Produzioni dal Basso is the online platform on which we carry out crowdfunding campaigns. It is one of the largest Italian online fundraising community, and we have chosen this platform with a public tender. Actually, when we started thinking about crowdfunding in our university, we were clear that it would be better to use an existing platform rather than create a new one ourselves. Go ahead. And these are our co-financing partner for the crowdfunding campaigns of the fourth announcement. Some of them have already been with us since 2019, so since the second edition. Next one. And let's see how co-financing works. So the maximum financial target the project can apply is 10,000 euros. And when the crowdfunding campaign is raised 50% of the financial goal from donors, the sponsoring company co-financed the campaign with the 50% remaining. Ahead. Thank you. We also have training partners, as you can see. What do they do? So these partners put their experts at the disposal of applicants interested in receiving tutoring in the drafting of their ideas. Next one. And training is an important part of the Unicron program. Actually, it is not a coincidence that we have called it the University of Crowdfunding. The training is done when the announcement is open on the writing of the projects, on the business plan, and on other aspects related to the application. But above all, the training is given to the teams of the 5 selected projects each year. And this training is aimed at teaching them how to do a successful fundraising campaign through lectures, workshops, and testimonials. The news of the current edition is team building training done through parkour activity. Next one. And now coming back for a moment to the topic of collaboration with the companies. Let's see why more and more companies use crowdfunding as a tool for social responsibility and open innovation. Crowdfunding was born as a process of financial disintermediation in supporting ideas and projects, but we are witnessing a transformation towards very interesting co-planning elements for universities. And in fact, today, crowdfunding platforms are transforming themselves from simple fundraising spaces into spaces in which structured subjects build initiatives together. Somehow, companies are also using these platforms to build new ideas, new products, new supply chain, or test new products and services. Next one. And how we measure the Unicron impact. So we measure the impact is measured both through media coverage and project success. Next one. In this slide, we can see the media coverage data of the first 3 editions of the Unicron. These numbers also include articles dedicated to co-financing partners. And I believe this data is very important because it somehow represents the return which the co-financing partners gets by investing in our crowdfunding program. The next. Now let's take a very quick look at some of the projects that have done the crowdfunding campaigns. Go ahead, thank you. The first one is Relief, Psychological First Aid. It's very interesting experience, this one. From the psychology classrooms to the Milan subway stop to bring psychological relief to the people. With the 10,000 euros raised through crowdfunding, they opened the startup and their first office into the Metro 5, which is the most recent subway line in Milan. Furthermore, thanks to the visibility received, they found new partners. The scope of the project, the second one, Project Pamela, the acronym stands for Photoacoustic Melanoma Detector, is held. The team is developing a device which uses the sound from a laser source to detect the melanoma. This project shows very well how Unicron works even over the crowdfunding campaign. In fact, after the campaign, thanks to the visibility they had received from crowdfunding, the Carolina Zani Melanoma Foundation had donated them 15,000 euros. Next one, please. And now let's move on to a couple of projects on plastic. In particular, it is Bioplastic. Both were co-financed by the Corepla Consortium for the Recycling of Plastic Packaging. The first is Microval, which aims to characterize bacteria capable of digesting polymers present in compostable waste. This project, Microval, is the one that has collected the most money ever among the Unicron campaigns. Next one. 100% bioplastic aims to create plastic materials starting from compounds in which all the components are derived from freshly synthesized biomass. The interesting thing about this project is that 6 months after doing the reward-based crowdfunding campaign with Unicron, they again choose crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding, to make a capital increase. The next one. Okay, but who are the backers? Backers are usually people interested to the project aim, of course. And they are engaged, as you can see, through several actions, the most important of whom is personal circles engagement. Go ahead, please. And okay, now other universities are now developing their crowdfunding programs and have contacted us, I mean in Italy, and contacted us to learn more about our experience. Why do they do it? Because they understood that crowdfunding is a chance, is a way to grow research with the help of many, and in this way to share and enhance knowledge. The next one. So, in conclusion, crowdfunding can be a solution to the lack of research funding and to help ideas to turn in startup. If it is used not only as fundraising tool, but above all as a co-planning platform, communication opportunity, and people engagement channel above all. And the last one. Okay, these are my contact, and thank you for your attention. I hope this presentation was interesting for you, and if you should have any question, please feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you very much, Luigi. 10 minutes sharp. You could say that having an Italian colleague talking with a French moderator, that's a challenge for the timekeeping, but I must admit it was just great. Thanks a lot for this very, very inspiring presentation. Yes, the questions are open. I guess you can use the Slido to send the questions. Let's take 5 minutes for the first questions. There is a question from the audience about how do you find enterprises to join the crowdfunding, and what would be the incentives for these companies?
Okay, we start from our own contacts. You know, we as university we have a lot of contacts with the companies, with the enterprises, etc. And experience was very useful for us because the first edition was the most problematic in funding new companies to support the program and to join us. But when we had raised some experience and some good stories and good crowdfunding campaigns, it was it was more easy to convince companies in investing in our program. What we give them? We first of all we give visibility, media relations opportunities, and so in change of a little investment, they receive a big opportunity to reach their targets. And to say they are supporting young people to do interesting and new research and to do open innovation.
Thanks a lot. I have a very quick question, a very short question. Well, usually we use, I would say, public funded schemes to go through these steps. What would be, to your point of view, the main difference or the main advantage of crowdfunding as compared to these public funds?
It's the involvement of people outside the university. I mean, our usual environment. Through crowdfunding, you can reach people that don't know what we do in our laboratories, and maybe often they don't know what a researcher do every day, and what science and research can take in the everyday life. So it's very important. crowdfunding in this way, in making new networks. Okay.
Very clear. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Luigi. Let's welcome now Simona Rataj. She's working at the Knowledge Transfer Office, and she's the head for strategic marketing of IP rights, and coming from the University of Ljubljana in Slovenia. So please, Simona, the floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Christophe. University of Ljubljana recently joined a large group of universities that manage their own proof of concept funds. We established ours in 2020, so 2 years ago, and in the last 2 years, the attitude of researchers towards entrepreneurship and collaboration with industry and society has improved indeed. Next, please. Our innovation fund is part of the whole package of support services that are aiming at commercializing research developed at our university, from intellectual property identification and protection to proof of concept and connecting researchers with industrial partners from all around the world. Next, please. Through the fund, we aim to support promising projects, those that are already in our pipeline, and through them, we also identify new research projects that are then added to our list of clients. The fund covers the activities that are advancing technological development stages of projects, such as consultancy services, feasibility studies, prototype production, market analysis and research, participation at trade fairs and industry events, and the smaller amount is intended for material costs and equipment up to 30%, and labor costs of an additional complementary researcher. In other words, a researcher that provides expertise that the core team lacks. Next, please. The goal of the fund is quite obvious. It is to reduce the risk of the supported projects and make them more attractive to potential partners from business and society. Next, please. So how does our process look like? Next, please. You can just see a glimpse, an insight into the steps from start to beginning, but I will not go through all of them. Next, please. I can summarize them into 3 main steps. The first step is to prepare and publish the annual call for proposals to motivate researchers to apply for funding. Once the call is closed, the second step is to find suitable experts from industry to assist the evaluation board and in assessing the projects. And during this step, we also train researchers on how to present their projects. We organize the presentations, the pitches to evaluation board, and in the last step, it is evaluation board and director of University of Ljubljana have a need to approve the list of proposed supported projects. Next, please. There is more to the fund that meets the eye. It is certainly not big. Our annual budget is only 70,000 euros in comparison to other universities that grant to 100,000 euros per project. That is quite a small amount. Nevertheless, we do not see the smaller budget as an obstacle. We take what is available to us at our university in Slovenia and throughout Europe, and we combine all these possibilities for the benefit of the researchers and their projects. For example, an external reviewer can serve and serves as potential business partner to us, as market feedback, which is really important for researchers, and as advisors for further development. We can take into account their experts' opinion and then try to develop the projects according to their market feedback. And the external reviewers become and remain our important part of innovation community. Next, please. The fund also serves as a reference for the supported projects and, of course, as motivation for researchers to try something new. For example, industrial events instead of scientific ones. Next, please. The supported projects and their teams also receive mentoring and coaching, both from our office and from our university incubator. Here we work with international coaches from specific research and industrial sectors. Next, please. As a smaller university, we really need to be resourceful. Therefore, we connect with national and international innovation ecosystem actors, both in the public and private sectors, to further develop our projects. We support our teams in acquiring additional entrepreneurial training, such as EIT, participating in international networking and matchmaking events. One is Slovenia, another one is internationalized by EIT, by Commercialization Reactor, and they bring together researchers and entrepreneurs with the aim of building entrepreneurial teams around research and deep tech spin-out creation. Next, please. What have our projects achieved in the last 2 years? So as I'm sure you know, 2 years is not a lot of time to develop non-ICT projects. Our 9 projects come from biotechnology, mechanical engineering, energy, and pharmaceutical sectors. And the results in the past 2 years are 1 spin-off already established last year, 2 teams in the process of establishing spin-offs, optimized processes, working prototypes, and a project under license negotiation. And an all-important shift in a culture that is priceless, really priceless. Next, please. During the processes, we have, of course, faced our challenges. Next, please. These were securing funding for the fund, motivating researchers to apply, finding good evaluators, and preparing researchers to think in terms of business model development. So not just research, but a step further. Next, please. And the lessons that we learned are, next, please. Money is important, but money alone is only part of the whole story. Next, please. For tech transfer staff and for researchers, it is really crucial to support each other, to motivate each other, and to be open to connect to new complementary right people when we think of coaches, mentors, industry partners, incubators, innovation support organizations, investors, working hand in hand for mutual benefit as a true team. Next, please. I hope I was brief enough and clear enough. For further information, I am available. You can contact me or I can answer the questions later. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Simona. Very, very clear indeed and very inspiring. Thanks a lot. We have a question from the audience. So after the researchers have received support from your fund, what's the follow-up?
So the researchers, first we have a meeting with researchers and we prepare a plan on how to use these funds. We then see what else they are looking for and we try to find, as presented, activities, companies or events that could provide the activities or the results that we cannot provide, but they need. So first step is really have a really good plan, try to think what is the objective. So we both understand, or we all understand what the objective is, and we start breaking down activities step by step and setting deadlines. And then we are always in contact with them if they have any trouble, how they are proceeding with the project. And it is, as I said, we tend to grow a partnership with researchers.
Thanks a lot. Another very important question is about the balance that the researchers have to keep between the different activities. And so the question is, do you provide free time to your researchers so they can get involved in these sort of projects?
Usually they are really motivated, so they are doing that during their free time, and as I'm aware, there is for now we have not had any case that we would set a specific time of their duties to be able to commercialize. But when it comes to establishing spin-out, then there could be an agreement on how much time can be dedicated to the company and how much time can be dedicated to the laboratory's research. While they are still in the phase of being researcher, it is not the same case.
All right, thanks a lot. I have many other questions, but I would keep them for the end of the session. And I suggest we now welcome Petr Matolín. Petr is working for the technology agency of the Czech Republic. So please, Petr, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Christophe, and thank you to the organizers for having the opportunity to be present in this panel. If we could start with next slide, please. Perfect. So good morning to everyone. My name is Petr Matolín and I come from the Technology Agency of the Czech Republic. And today I would like to focus on how we support the validation of applied research results in the Czech Republic. Next slide, please. Couple of words about our agency to start with. Firstly, the Technology Agency is an organizational unit of the state. It is a governmental agency, and we are the main funding agency for applied research and innovation in the Czech Republic. We are currently implementing some 12 different schemes. Some of them are thematically focused, some of them are more of a systemic nature. We also implement ministerial programs, but most of the programs that we implement are of our own design. And about one of these programs I would like to speak today. Next slide, please. And the program that I'm going to talk about is called Gamma 2. It is a rather smaller program, as you can see from the duration, only 3 years, but also from the point of budget, 22 million euros. In relation to our other programs, it is a rather small program. And I should say that it is focused on the verification of research results from the point of view of their practical application and commercial use. There are 2 sub-programs. I will speak a little bit about them later, but one of them is for research organizations. That is a bigger part of the program, and one of them for companies. Next slide, please. So what was the motivation for Gamma 2 program? So I should say that before Gamma 2 there was Gamma 1, so it's not a new idea for us. But the idea was to support the system of the verification of research result, so that we could use, so that they could be used practically and commercially. In other words, we wanted to help research organizations and companies to bridge the so-called valley of death between research resources and commercialization resources. And we are doing it in a little bit interesting way. I hope you will find it interesting as we do, because we ceded part of the responsibilities to the research organizations themselves, to the beneficiaries. We are providing research organizations with funding, but the research organization themselves decide which ideas, which sub-projects they want to test and verify. For this, the research organization must have a commercialization system put in place, and I will get a little bit later into what's required from them. Next slide, please. So just to remind you, there are 2 sub-programs, one for research organizations only and one for SMEs and startups. And I will start on the next slide with the one for research organizations. So research organizations are a beneficiary here. This is the scheme, how it works for them. So they must have a commercialization system, and they must have something called Council for Commercialization. This council must include representatives of application sector, representatives of financial sector, and representatives of the research organization can be only up to 50% of the council's members. So there must be outsiders from the research organization. And this Council for Commercialization then selects sub-projects that are to be funded within the research organization. And it also controls running sub-projects, so they can end projects if they are not going smoothly based on interim reports. The research organization or the project only informs us as a funding agency. We are monitoring the project as a whole, but we do not decide which sub-projects, which ideas are going to be tested or not. Obviously, the technology transfer offices are heavily involved in this. In most cases, they are also acting as project managers. Next slide, please. And this is more about the sub-program 2, which is focused on companies. In the previous Gamma 1 program, we were using the funding for Seal of Excellence holders of the SME instrument phase 1. So those companies that haven't received funding on the European level but were successful in the evaluation could get money from our Gamma program. And now, because SME instrument phase 1 was discontinued, we have moved it to the national level, and we are funding high-risk, high-potential SMEs, Czech SMEs, and we want to direct at SMEs with revolutionary business ideas and an underlying technology. So they can receive small funding for short projects, it's usually half-year projects, to prepare a feasibility study to test the technological and economical sustainability of the innovation that the company wants to introduce. And what's also interesting, that this endeavor is part of a CSA project Go SME. It is also described in more detail on the valorization web of the European Commission, so please feel free to have a look at that. And we are also providing, if the company is interested, 24 hours of international coaching services. We are using the Enterprise Europe Network database and partner in the Czech Republic. Next slide, please. So how it actually works and what have we learned? Well, luckily last year we did the evaluation of the first Gamma program, and obviously, we could see some positive impacts. We funded some 30 research organizations and about 9 or 10 companies within the first Gamma program. And 30% of results that were produced in different sub-projects have been already commercialized. Another 40% of these research results already found a commercial partner. So we could see that the motivation of researchers to commercialize R&D results has increased. And overall, the change of researchers' thinking was also to be seen. Thanks to this tool, they stopped considering the commercialization of science as something bad or unimportant. And in addition, it allowed them to fund their research in the future, because hopefully they will have, and in some cases they already have, additional money from commercialized outputs. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to list 2 examples of successful sub-projects so that I do not speak only about the general idea, but also practical as well. So one of them is called Czechoslovakia 3889. And the idea or the aim of the project was to verify the possibility of commercializing the education simulation Czechoslovakia between years 38 and 89, very turbulent years for Czechoslovakia. And they wanted to publish and distribute a game dedicated to this topic. It was a project of Charles University in Prague. Actually, Faculty of Mathematics, Physics, and Faculty of Arts collaborated in this. And as a result, the game was really released. And we could also see that the spin-off company, Charles Games, was initiated. And this company now serves as an incubator for the university students. Next slide, please. Then highlights the second example, which is Leave B, which is an application that helps children with reading difficulties, including dyslexia, dysphagia. And it's namely for children at the beginning of learning to read. It's also being used for foreigners learning to read and for patients after stroke, because the exercises that the app provides are selected and tailored exactly to each reader. and continuously adjust to their results. Next slide, please. But we also learned from the evaluation that not everything was as nice as we expected. There were some negative aspects. For instance, one beneficiary used the funding for activities completely other than was expected. Another institution privatized the system. They basically provided the funding to a public entity to do the commercialization system for them, which was completely out of the interest of the scheme, because the interest was to learn the research organization to work with their commercialization system with some extra money. Some other research organizations also introduced a functional system, but they didn't think about what will happen after the project finishes. So they didn't create a fund that could be used after the project finishes. And we could see that for some institutions, it is still a minor agenda to think about commercialization. But still, I would say that in majority cases, we could see positive aspects. We are currently working on a follow-up scheme because we still see that there is a need for this kind of activities. And with that, I move to the last slide, which is to thank you all for listening to me and for paying attention to me. And I'm ready for your questions. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Peter. This is really interesting. I'm very happy to see that some of the examples you gave were not only about technology. So we are talking also with about SSH. And there is a question from the audience actually concerning the support you can bring with societal actors or citizens. So have you got some examples in this field?
I do not have that in mind in specific projects because there are a lot of activities being currently implemented, but actually the applicants or the beneficiaries can take this opportunity. They can involve in the discussion about the practical use of their research results anyone they want. It doesn't necessarily have to be only companies. It can be also other institutions. We are aiming towards practical use of the research results, not just commercial use. So there are definitely projects that are to be used for the better good, so to speak, and not only by commercializing the activities.
Thank you. Well, we reach now the point where we still have around 10 minutes to read your questions and maybe to ask these questions to any of our speaker. Maybe Simona or Luigi would like to talk about this societal aspect and also maybe the specificities of the humanities and social sciences in your own schemes. Would you like to react to this?
Okay,
I can. Simona, go you.
Well, our innovation fund is open to also non-technological innovations. For now, we have had some of the projects applied. They were not supported by Innovation Fund, but they were supported by our extra or usual activities in trying to find the appropriate partners from industry and so forth. So, but we have also added or developed a new call for awards from social sciences. It is called HUT. It is in humanities, arts, and humanities, arts, and we are looking for student innovations and supporting them with small financial reward, and of course with additional education training on how to develop the social innovation to do closer to the market.
Thanks, Luigi.
Yeah, I would say that our crowdfunding, reward-based crowdfunding experience is working as a kind of third mission for our university. And because it keeps we in contact with new subjects and new companies and also stakeholders that we can reach with this crowdfunding program. And of course, I show you some technical and scientific project, but we have a lot of humanistic and social projects that had applied to this crowdfunding program, and had successful crowdfunding campaigns, even during the lockdown years. And it was a very important signal from public and from people. So we were impressed of this.
Thanks. Thank you. There are many questions. I will choose maybe the quickest one first and easiest. The question for Peter: do you fund projects outside of the Czech Republic?
So we are all in the European research area, and all these institutions should be entitled. But I should say that because this is a national scheme from the Czech national budget, it's mostly intended for research organizations and companies from the Czech Republic. So there could be probably a way to collaborate within existing projects also outside of the Czech Republic. But the main focus really is for Czech researchers and Czech entrepreneurs.
Thank you. A more general question about what we call intellectual assets management. So this is probably wider than only intellectual property management. So there's a question about two very different aspects, to my opinion. The first one is, do you have, the three of you, do we have a common platform for managing actually all the intellectual property and intellectual assets, created during these projects? So we are talking about the platform, which is a tool.
Okay. 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 No. We have divided in two moments this crowdfunding program. So we don't manage with the intellectual property during the campaigns. If companies are interested in intellectual properties of projects, of ideas, we manage these with the specific agreements, but after the campaigns. We don't have, in general, a specific platform for intellectual properties, but we have an office totally dedicated to this aspect. And there are a team of colleagues that works on intellectual properties, patent, and all these things, this stuff.
Thank you. That will be one of my questions afterwards about the team. What are the right resources and right staff to involve in that? Simona, anything about the platform, a tool would actually present all the different results and maybe provide some technological offers or transfer offers?
Okay. So not regarding IP, regarding commercialization. We are using our own webpage where we have published the technology offers, but we are also using a lot of internationally available platforms that are really targeting academia industry collaboration. Some are free of charge, some are you have to pay some kind of fee or annual fee. And we are using any one that is available to us. So we also have had good results. We have had quite a lot of international companies during COVID that contact us, and we are now talking with researchers about materials exchange, NDAs, and so forth. They were signed.
Thank you. Peter, as the Czech government organized something about this sort of platform, or do you use, just like Simona, the existing tools?
So we as an agency, we do not have a specific tool for IP sharing, but we have a really useful tool, which is informing about all research that is being done in the Czech Republic that is publicly funded, and it's a really useful engine. It's accessible for everyone for free. It's also searching in English language. It's called StarFOSS. It's at starfoss.tacr.cz. And basically, if you are interested in anything, any project, you can input keywords, and it will search through all the publicly funded projects, not only done by our agency. And it can also search potentially similar projects based on keywords. So this is a really good tool that we also recommend for matchmaking purposes in our other programs, mostly international. And in some cases, you can even see who the principal investigator, who the person is. You can see what the results are expected. Obviously, some of the results are being protected, so we do not have the results themselves posted there, but it's an easy way to find someone from the Czech Republic working on the same topic that you might be.
Brilliant, thanks a lot. The other part of the question about intellectual assets management was about the policy, and I would add maybe the regulation. So what sort of policies do you have in your own institutions, in the universities, or the legal, the national legal level maybe? So what kind of legal tool do you use for IP? And I guess one of the questions related to this is, do you expect some IP exploitation and return on investment? So I know I mix legal questions, policy questions, and economical questions, but I think there is a link between the three of them. Maybe Luigi, would you like to start on that?
Yeah, we have started a couple of years ago with a new foundation between three universities, University of Milan Bicocca, University of Bergamo, and University of Pavia, keep together to make a foundation named U4I. It stands for University for Innovation. And this new structure works on the development of commercialization of patents at national and international stage. And the idea was that keep together three universities. It's a good way to enhance and to enforce, to foster the university visibility and possibility to reach international markets.
Thank you. Simona?
At the University of Ljubljana, our rules are that everything that is developed at our university is through our resources. It is owned by University of Ljubljana, and we are then also responsible for taking over the invention and protecting it through patenting or any other ways. Copyright or even business secret. And when we are owner of the patent, for example, we do take care for the management, managing and for commercializing, as I also presented.
Thank you. Peter, what about the law and the policies in the Czech Republic about return on investment for IP in public research?
Yes, so I can say how it works from the perspective of our agency. The IP assets are the ownership of the research organizations or the companies participating, and we do not strictly enter into these discussions. It's a responsibility of the beneficiaries. We do not even have the know-how how to really help them with this. In some cases, we would organize seminars where representatives of, for instance, the Czech Patent Office would come and present how they should do it ideally. We are also following these discussions with specialized platforms. One of them is called Transfera, and it's focusing on technology transfer. So we are following these discussions, but it's really not the area that we would be heavily active in, so to speak.
Thank you. So I would say maybe for our friends at the European Commission that confirms the interest of providing guidelines and at the European level. So we expect some guidance from the Commission on this subject. Many other questions, maybe a quick one for Simona. Have you got some, I lost the question, sorry. Have you got some experience in the field of health, I think, if I remember? Yeah, biotech and the Faculty of Medicine. You got projects in this field?
Yes, biotech, pharmaceutical, medical inventions are among most represented at our university or even at our technology transfer office. And we have many experiences. It is a slow process because it's medical, it's pharmaceutical, but nevertheless, it takes a lot of international connections and events and matchmaking in order to really get to the right people to start NDAs and then trying the substances and so forth. So we are running the last mile at some of them, and we are keeping fingers crossed that the line or the target will be achieved.
Thank you. I guess that there is a question. I guess this is for Peter. It's about the shares. I mean, but how the budget is shared between companies and research institutes. I guess it was for you, because you're the one funding company.
So the majority of funding in the Gamma 2 and Gamma 1 program is for research organizations. Well, initially we wanted to have a similar funding for research organizations and similar funding for companies, but due to internal discussions in the Czech Republic and some similar schemes that were focused on companies, we in the end went in the way of that seal of excellence. And now with this initiative in Gamma 2 to really focus on the high risk potential SMEs, but if we have tens of projects being funded on the research organization side, we have more units, so to speak, on the side of companies, and also the funding is we have, for instance, tens of millions for research organizations and about 1 million for companies. So it's really the focus here is on research organizations due to internal situation in the Czech Republic. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. We have a very complicated question there, and I would like to relate this question to the global issue about what is the team you need to go on with these projects. What I have in mind with my own experience is that the successful team is, of course, to be built around the researchers and with professionals from the knowledge and technology transfer. So usually the KT office. And so in some cases, maybe with public agencies, government agencies and so on. So what's your feeling about that? And the real question from the audience was, what is what's the right composition of TTO? Okay, what's the best option related to people in a TTO? So how many people should be there and which competences? This is a very complicated question. So let's talk about the team and maybe about the TTO or KT office. Maybe Simona would like to start on that?
Yes, it is difficult to say how many. So the absolute number, it's difficult for us. The perfect number would be about 10 or even more. Now we are 8. But the competence that the technology transfer office or knowledge transfer office has to have is, of course, IP protection. So patenting, trademarks, designs, everything that is related to intellectual properties and how to manage, protect them. Then you have to have a legal contract, legal staff for going through the contracts related to IPR, negotiations, and so forth. Then, of course, the other side, marketing, where you really need to have a market intelligence competences, experts from fields that have connections to industry, business developers that can support researchers to go on the path of spin-offs and so forth. So it is a really a wide range of competences. People have to be really different, and they have to complement each other, and above all, they have to have really communication and people skills. You have to be really patient because the technology transfer is a slow process. It means changing the culture, and it means also supporting two different spheres. One is industry that has its own rules, and one is researcher that has its own rules, and you are in the middle of it.
Thanks a lot. I think that's also an answer to one of the questions, which was, do you help the team to find people with commercialization or business skills? And I hear from what you say that this sort of people you can find in the knowledge transfer office very clearly. Maybe Luigi, on this same question, what the right TTO and what was the right team?
Yeah, we in our case, in our university, we have a team in TTO with people which have legal skills and also a little bit of commercial skills. But in my specific program, it's a life cycle program during the year. So I work time by time with different colleagues all around the university services, from communication to TTO to other services, IT or legal office, to keep together all the pieces of the crowdfunding program.
Thank you. Okay, we got 3 minutes to go, and I would like to ask you, and starting with Peter, what would be in 1 minute for each of you a recommendation maybe for the European Commission and your final wrap up about this subject. Please, Peter, if you wish to.
Yes, certainly. So I would definitely like to encourage funding institutions and funding agencies to try their beneficiaries more, to try to give them more responsibilities. In our cases, it worked, even given the fact that some of the problems were mentioned, but in most cases it helped. And not only did we have to do less work on our side, it empowered the technology transfer offices and the research organization commercialization system very much. So that would be my message, to give them more trust.
Very clear. I like this. Thanks. Simona, please.
Perhaps a suggestion that just like the responsibility for protecting research results with IPR that is now a must in European projects, it would be really good to have also valorization, so activities a must in the European projects.
Very clear as well. I support this. Luigi, please.
Oh, I think a little bit more training on the TTO aspects could help to improve this sector, and also facilitate and support with the easier legal organization the alternative finance for universities.
All right, thanks a lot. Can I still have 1 minute? I'm asking Stephanie and Iro, they are also the timekeepers. I would like to thank very much first our speakers. Really, thank you. It was really exciting and very inspiring, and you kept the time. Very nice. I can see that actually I would say the stakeholders are really taking actions, and I'm very happy to see that. Once again, we demonstrate that one size does not fit all. We got to have a very specific solutions, and I like very much the fact that sometimes when the EC stops some actions about the national level, takes on. So we can go from public to crowdfunding, and we can go also from national to universities. And so the local actions are, to my point of view, very important. The importance of the team has been demonstrated, and also the importance of capacity building for the tech transfer and knowledge transfer offices. And I think this is very clear. I think that would be my final point on that. Thanks again for the European Commission for organizing this week. I think